collectors, and welcome back to the Life First Podcast, where we're going to do something a little bit different with this deck building session. So I have already pre-looked at these Pirpara Signy, and I know that I'm gonna get a lot of people asking about how to build one of these decks because people like tribes in Wixoss a lot. So I've already looked into it a little bit, and I'm just going to sort of build this on the live. I don't actually know what the right move for this is, but I can look at, like, where I start with this, and then you guys can sort of get an understanding of, like, this type of deck building, and follow along, and then tweak as you want on your own versions if you'd like. So what I did was, there's basically two web pages I'm going to go to. I'm going to go to the actual card list here, because I just like to see the pictures in larger form here. And then I'm going to go to Dexys over here, and I'm actually going to make the deck itself here. I've already done the pre-work here of putting in Pirpara over here and searching for it, so I know I'll have at least these popping up over here. Theoretically, you could just use this if you wanted to, but I like this. And I'm just going to sort of go through, look at my thoughts overall about this entire thing, because this is a very small pool to look at, and then make decisions based on that. So, looking already at it, there's basically two things that are really jumping out to me. Here's the two rarest versions of the cards, and then this card as well, which is a something in the Elrig deck, and I always start with the Elrig deck if I can help it. Inevitably, we won't start with the Elrig deck because we're going to have to look at this type of thing here and just work with what we have. But then the first thing I see is that the piece here is a Dream Team piece, which is kind of a negative against it. I really would have preferred it not being a Dream Team piece. It's a little difficult to work with things when Dream Team pieces are already so good. You want at least your second piece to not be a Dream Team piece and be good. So this is going to take up a significant amount of deck building space if we end up using it. It basically means that we can do one of the following... two of the following here, where we can look at the top 5 and take the best 2 cards. We can vanish a Signy on the opponent's field, or we can enter charge 3. I'm shortcutting these. And deciding, basically, is that worth it than something else like, I don't know, Ultra Superheroes, or Energy Door, any of these Dream Team pieces that are really good. And the answer is, this is actually pretty above rate. 0 enter for a vanish, and enter charge 3 is pretty good. 0 enter for a vanish and look at the top 5 is pretty good. Notably, it only gets you Pirpara stuff instead of actual guards and things like that, spells. So that's something to keep in mind if we decide to go down this with deck building. But what I really want to start as actually with these two over here, because these two have seemingly the best effect, and I generally, like, when I'm looking to go into something that's so restrictive, I'm looking for the payoffs. And the payoffs here is that we have something that's, like, pretty good. When it gets vanished, your opponent discards a card, and at the beginning of your attack step, you draw a card, but you look at the top 2, basically draw the best card. Or you can draw both of them and discard one. I'm realizing that's also a thing that you can do. So it's pretty good filter support. And then this is 2 enter to bounce your opponent, Signy off of your opponent's field, which is average. It's not great. There's another ability attached to it where if you reveal 2 different Signy, then you get an extra bonus for it. That is statistically unlikely to happen, and also not really something you could build around to make it work. Like, there is ways to build around it, Hakots and whatnot, to stack your deck. This is not such a big payoff that you want to be, like, forcing that in here. In fact, you'd rather just run with these Pirparas themselves and just call it a day, packet full of them. And then, you know, the other thing with this one here is that it's got a really, really good life burst. It's down to 2 Signies on the opponent's field. That's the, basically the Folklore life burst. I wish it was then and to draw a card, but it's not. You get to draw a card at worst case scenario, and that's it. So looking on from here, this is already putting me in a direction that I want to be in, probably some kind of white-blue deck, because the power is sort of centralized in these 2 cards. Leading me to think that Pirpara should probably be a kind of somewhat of a controller mid-range deck. Going down here, I see that this one is a boost Signy, where it can basically on your turn be 3,000, on your opponent's turn be 7,000. That plays exactly like Togiyuki does, and that is more of a mid-range or control card. Then there's this one that plays a lot like Circonus, which is that it what do you call it here? Oh, I see. These are, I get it. The art now. I'm seeing the art now, guys, and these line up perfectly next to each other. That's clever. Okay, panorama. That's what they call them. All right, moving on. It also has a ability that's Zirconius ability. You basically look at the top 5 for an enter, and then you can put one of the Pirpara cards to your hand. I'm always looking to grab guards with these things, so this is kind of disappointing. Garururu is actually pretty okay. Its first ability is you can down it and vanish something with power 2,000 or less, which is not great. But downing it and vanishing something with power 3,000 or less is actually good, because there are scenarios where, especially in more of, again, a control deck, you'd rather down the Signy in front of something, so that way it doesn't have to attack into it. Not that this attack would matter very much, being that it is 2,000 power, so it can probably attack under everything. But downing isn't actually the worst if you're in a deck where you're kind of aiming to do 1 or 2 damage on the field at most per turn. So this still supports me that I'm looking to be in maybe a control deck, since this one is actually pretty good on its own. This is a Team Pump Signy. It doesn't hold the Team Pump, it's just very aggressive, so I'm not necessarily interested in running this card. And then this one here is a basically pay and enter, and then vanish something on your opponent's field of power 10,000 or less. Yeah, I'm looking at potentially using this. Lane opening is always something worth mentioning, because you do have to win the game at some point. I'm seeing all of these are panoramas now. Cool, that is pretty funny. The next one here is that there's this one, which is, let's see, when you discard a card, something gets power 2,000 before, and it's a search card, and it's just basic. Okay, this is average. It's not really that great on its own. Follow Lu is actually the only Pirpara that's good enough to play in like any deck, not like several other decks other than just Pirpara decks. So this is something I'd be interested in regardless. It's Monoman, but for level 2, which has its ups and downs for both of it. Let's look at what green gives us here. Green gives us the ability to have this basically always be 8,000. That's actually quite strong. Then this one is, as long as there's another Pirpara on your field, this gets 2,000 power, so it's always basically a 10k. And then you could put 3 Priparas from your enter zone into your trash, and this gains Lancer. That's good. It's not awful. It's good. I basically, this artist just used the same exact bunny and just like rotated it a bunch. That's pretty funny. Same thing with these these things over here. Yep, that's funny. Definitely reuse assets. So this is average. It's not great. It's a little overcosted. Let's look at the level 3 if this draws us into it. At the end of your turn, you enter charge 1. If there are 2, you enter charge 2. So far, I haven't seen any extreme need to be enter charging. The most expensive thing is this one over here, and 2 enter is an acceptable amount to bounce something, so I'm not really seeing it. I guess this is what it's trying to enter charge, but I'd rather enter charge on good rates than make bad rates okay. So I'm not really super interested in this green. Yes, this card's pretty good, but not good enough to sacrifice the whole thing off. I think this whole deck would probably be better if we could do 5 colors, which we currently cannot. So let's see what black has to offer us. We can put the top deck card in the deck. If we do, we give something negative 2,000. Negative 2,000 is just not enough. Negative 3,000 or less, so I'm going to go ahead and say, even if it's free, quote unquote, I'm going to go ahead and say no, this isn't really all that great. If there's 5 or more Priparas in your trash, then you get 4,000 power, which makes us a 12k, which is interesting at least. And you put the top 3 cards of your deck into your trash when you do this, so it mills itself a bit. Yeah, that's okay. It's pretty average. I wouldn't necessarily, I haven't wanted a level 2 12,000 power and Wixoss in a while. At least, I mean, specifically looking for it. It has an okay life burst. The last one doesn't have a life burst, and that's something actually worth mentioning. There's very little life burst in the level 3 slots here, which kind of blows. And then, let's see here. You can pay 1 enter, down it, and the opponent will get, something on the opponent's field will get negative 10,000 for each Pirpara on your field till end. For each Pirpara in your trash. This can only go up to 15. So with some amount of mill yourself stuff, This could theoretically open up a lane. I don't know. It's less lane opening than this, right? Like this is 10,000 without any effort, whereas this is going to only be 10,000 if you put 10,000, like 10 in your trash, which is doable. It's just not great. I'm also thinking at some point we probably, like, because the power here is just not super here, we might need to thin back on basically how much Pirpara we're running. We're gonna need enough to make fields. That's probably at least 30, but we might need to fill out some spells and stuff here too. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, then put them in any order, then choose. Reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, then put them in any order on the bottom. Choose one of the following. Return target Signy on your opponent's field if there are one or more Pirpara among the revealed cards, which is doable. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we don't necessarily need to go a full deck of Pirpara. We can kind of do a control deck with a little bit of a nice red lean here because of these and these. And we can make at least some kind of core to work with and then kind of see where we go from there. Okay, so that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to go ahead and look over here, and I'm going to go start at the top here. I don't necessarily know... Oh, we should also do 4 servants. That's the first thing. Servant. And I know I'll get blasted in the comments if I don't go and use the Pirpara servants. We'll start with that. Okay. Pirpara. Okay. I'm going to put 4 of these. I don't know if 4 is the right number in here, but 4 of these seems right because it's, again, the life burst that I'm looking for, at least on these. So that's what I'm kind of interested in. We need life bursts. I'm going to go ahead and put 4 of these in. Skip that one for now because I wasn't super interested in it. 4 of these. And 4 of these. And then I'm going to go a little bit more. This one was fine. It's filtering, you know. It's level 1 filtering. I'll take it. Follow Lu is a good card. And then we're at stuff. So this is what we're looking like. I think I want to lean into blue because I'm seeing that I've got these as sort of my greatest numbers here, and then this is more of a support stuff. Luckily, this doesn't need white. This is colorless, and this can be anything that's Pirpara, so it already has met its requirement for how much we need to do it. So we're splashing the red and that stuff in there. So we're going to go ahead and blue. Since we're already sort of on this theme of like doing some kind of discard control, maybe we're even a tempo deck here. Let's throw in Monument as one of our extra cards. We are way over now. Go ahead and lower that number down to 2. And this is going to trigger the freeze thing, which is actually pretty nice. So far, this is our only form of lane opening, which is not great. We want more lane opening. But we have a lot of level... Oh, we also have this as lane opening, right. So maybe down to here. That still keeps us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So we're sort of still above the threshold needed. It's going to be difficult to hit with the piece now if we're going to do the draw effect. So I kind of think we just skip that piece. Just because I don't want to be that heavily dedicated into... And I mean, the other thing too is we can actually lower on the Monomin number. Let's go to 3 Monomin of this one. I don't want to dedicate like a million slots to. In fact, that's something that we can do is we can go to... Let's see here. I'm just going to do it on the other screen. We can hyper geometric calculator. And we can see with the hypergeometric calculator what our chances are if we do like 22 off the top 5. And we want to hit 2. It's 88% chance to hit 2 if we do that. But I still would rather be getting guards and things. So it's not really exactly the same as everything else. Um, I think this is a pretty good core at its worth. We still haven't figured out like any sort of Elrig deck stuff. This is actually completely backwards to what I normally do. But if we decided we're going into blue Elrigs, that sort of leaves us with Tamago as a chance, Madoka as a good one. Are we drawing a lot of extra cards here? I don't think we are. Like our Elrig is not necessarily getting us there, but I guess Madoka's probably the best bet for white, or sorry, for blue. And I like that because then it also means that we can use Yuka as a. We're doing the assists here. That means we can use Yuka as an assist line for our to really make it feel more of a control deck. There's also some benefits, right, for when we discard Paraparas, right? Yeah, with Falulu. Anytime we discard a Prepara. And same thing with this. So, it's something we can do, and we can filter through to try to get some of our other cards that are a little stronger on their own that we might want to run. So yeah, I think this is maybe the right call. And then this lets us use Yuka. I guess if we really wanted to go full in on the oh god, what is it? If we wanted to go full in on the idol theme, right? You could probably use Miko instead. Is that actually even an option here? Since we're making this slightly themed. Whenever this Elrig attacks, your opponent has 3 or less cards in their hand. You get to draw a card, which is cool. If they have 4 or more cards in your hand, the opponent discards a card. You draw 2 extra cards unless the opponent discards a card. And then once per game, you can look in their hand and discard a card. Nah, I still want to stay with Madoka, but Miko wouldn't be the worst thing to do instead of Madoka. Yuka. This is our next one. So we'll do Yuka as an assist. It gives us draw cards, and then also gives us a really nice level 2 to go into, like, automatically, so we can then put down our third. Ooh, we'd want a 3-stop, but that 3-stop would have to be red. Whee! I mean, you could cut the red for green in order to get Mel as your assist line here, but I also don't really. I don't know. I have a way that we can fix this, right? I really do want some structure in this deck to make up for a little bit of the power. So I want to have a 3-stop and utility 1-stop. So I think actually the smartest move would be to take out Yuka and replace it with probably Lion. Or even Donna. Either one of those are a fine option because they're 2 or 3 stops. And then the other thing that I'd like to do is X, right? X just gives the deck a little bit more power. So I think what we could do is we could do X0 followed by X Echo to draw some cards, and X Crossbeam to go ahead and shut down one lane. Nope, not the Crossbeam. Haha, that's not the right one. Crossfire to shut down a lane and also do some Enter burning. But it does mean that we're going to need to get a little bit more red in here. So I think the easiest way to do that would be to take out one of these, put one of these in here, especially since like white is going to be something we're splashing now. And we really only need like 8 red cards to pull this off. We're going to have some spell slot stuff over here anyways. We're also at maximum 1-drops. I actually just recognized we have 18 1-drops here. But barely any 2-drops, right? I don't think we have a single. We do have we have 4 2-drops here. So I think let's say we're gonna do some random drains. I'm just trying to figure out how to get some more red in here. So once I learn how to spell random drain, I just do like 3 as my go-to number of random drains. 4 always feels like too many. But maybe we need the extra one. I don't know. So let's see here. We need to fit some more red in here. We're probably going to need to fit a Life Burst red. Where are we currently with 3 jobs? We've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're at 10. We're at 10 right now, so we can afford another 2. I'd like those 2 to probably be red. So Andromeda is that's my go-to right now for red splash cards in here. That brings our number back up to 8, which is what I'm looking to do. I'm also probably going to want a red spell. We don't have any Exceed in here, right? So Scythe seems like a cool one. God. Scythe of the Flame God, which is kind of a cool idea, I think. So we'll go ahead and we'll just like toss one in real quick. It's just being like our 4th spell. That also gives us a little bit more red content, and it doesn't actually cost red because it doesn't cost anything. And that makes me feel better about X Crossfire here, right? Or sorry, X Echo being our draw. With X Echo being our draw, we're now having the question of whether or not we want to go with a Donna, which this deck does not feel like it's running enough blue to function with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, it's not enough. Donna's like, in order to make the Donna level 1 work, you gotta have like a bunch of blue. Like mostly be monocolor even. Or we can do the bounce if we wanted to. And have the bounce be have the bounce give us coins, but I don't know what we spend those coins on. I feel like there's probably not a lot of ways to do it, and there's an argument to be made just to put coins in there for no reason. But I don't think that's a great argument. Yeah, let's not try to do too much stuff here with the coins. I think we've got a pretty cool sort of like tempo core now going on. I'm going to throw in MC Lion as my go-to white Elrig of choice if I'm going to look for maybe a 3-stop. So yeah, this is pretty baseline. We probably should have these last 2 slots be filled in with a white Signy. And we want something that's potentially a... Let's see here. It's potentially a... level 2, right? That's what we're thinking we can fill up the slots with. Alright, well that's where the card list then helps me. I can go take out that, reset all of these, and just go doop, doop. Level 2 with Life Burst. Alright, what do we got? We've only got 25 options. Lynx is always an option. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. Lynx is always an option as being kind of a nice tempo thing. Of course, there's Rim Light if I want to double down on stuff. Quarry Sand's not really going to work here. Oh, there's this Pirpara. It might be better than nothing. Look at the top 5 cards, put a Pirpara among them to your hand, and then put the back in any order. I guess that's the right... It's got a Haniel Life Burst. The other option that is kind of an interesting option is because we are kind of already working with a down 2 Signy Life Burst. You might maximize here by putting in 2 of these Rim Lights, but we'll just do the Pirpara. It's sort of like our last thing that we're looking to do. So, I guess Pirpara, that's what it's pronounced. I always say Pirpara just because I don't read correctly. Is the real answer. And that puts us pretty close to what we're looking for. I think we had 18 level blues, so we should be good, and now we just need to figure out our pieces here. How much do we want to risk it for the Pirpara? And I don't think the answer is enough, so I'm actually just going to not. Instead, I'm going to go with Superheroes, which is a gimme, you know, like that's an easy one to use. But superheroes, basically every mode is great. And so if you're a white-red deck, then that's a Vanish. And also look at the top two, which is exactly what Pirpara Pieces was doing anyways. I mean, yes, there was an enter charge, but I really was not too worried about the enter in this deck. So I'm going to go with superheroes instead as being an option. Just because that'll get me Priparas, but it'll also get me guards. And maybe removal really gets me, again, anything that I need it to get me. And then, let's see, how are we doing on our removal here? We've got 1 here, and then 6 split amongst here with 3 on the low end here. So I think we're probably pretty good on removal stuff, plus, not to mention, Crossfade does something. But I suppose the easy answer would be to grab a, I don't know, so we could do Xenocluster. That's always a fine option. We could do the Burning Curiosity, which also feels like a fine option, just as another way to open up a lane and get in some damage. But between 1, 2 in the main deck, 3 in the main deck, right? Because Madoka can do it as well. I think, and this gives us more cards in hand. Oh, I got an idea. We can do countdown heals, right? This is actually one of the decks where it's actually a good idea to do countdown heals. It's new. It's new! Yeah, look at this. You can get yourself back removal from there, specifically what you need for the trash, as well as, you know, just overall good stuff there. 1 enter to basically draw 3 cards. I think I like that. I think that's a really good option. I forgot that this exists now for tribal decks. I think this is probably where I would go at if I was going to do something. You're not super ham on the discard here. You've got like enough that it feels like it's going to do enough to just sort of like get you where you need to go. 9 cards is arguably enough to trigger X Echo. Yeah, sure, you could flop that into being the X that vanishes something if you want. So I think, or even you could even be crazier. this is if you want to go deep. If you wanted to leave X Echo there because X Echo is very good. I mean, Madoka Float is very good. You could change MC Lion to be actually MC Lion Stand Up, which basically you got to use it like almost immediately, but it gets you the ability to like, you know, up something and attack again, which is basically vanish something on your opponent's field and then attack again. Yeah. Target level 1 on your Signy on your field gains when the Signy vanishes the Signy on your opponents through battle. If it didn't say through battle, I would actually be kind of excited for it, for some other stuff, but, you know, whatever. I think this is probably a solid start. Go ahead and save this one out. Save the deck. We're going to call this one Pirpara Tempo 10.0, because this is the first time playing it. You guys can tell me if things change. Let's just grab one of these Priparas, right? Boom, that one. That's, I think, the actual leader of the Prepara or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen that anime. You tell me if it's a... this is a Tempo... You can hear me clacking on my keyboard away. Tempo deck focusing on opening lanes, drawing cards, and messing with opponents' resources. In the short window, you have advantage. You should be aggressive to win. And that's how I make my decks. If you guys have any other questions about it, leave it in the comments below. Maybe you guys have some better ideas than I do. Go ahead and let me know. All right. See you guys.